How many kids for the school?
15.
And they would come to your house?
They came,
Yeah.
but in the meantime, my marriage had gone to hell. So
It's hard to be married to an activist, you know? Hi, everyone. Welcome to Navigating. Here at Navigating, we explore how people from all walks of life are finding their way through today's complex and changing world. Today, I'm honored to have two very special guests with me. Royce McLemore and Damian Morgan are both lifelong residents of Marin City, where the historical public housing complex Golden Gate Village is located. Originally built in 1961 to house African-American shipbuilders who came to the area during World War II, it's now listed on the National Register of Historic Places. And even though the housing complex is local to Marin County, in some ways it reflects issues that are far more global. Hi, both of you. Welcome.
good morning.
Good morning. I'm just so happy to have both of you here.
Thank you.
You're
for
both
inviting me.
experts on Marin City, and what I loved was the generational difference. I just thought, Royce, you've been there for a very long time.
Yes.
Damian, you've been there for a long time too. But the difference in generations, I think, reflects the difference in what the community is like and what it's always been like. And I thought today what we'd do is start by talking about the history of Marin City and Golden Gate Village, and I'd turn to you for that, Royce, because you've got so many years of experience. So, tell me about Marin City. How did it all begin?
Well, it did begin, it began during World War II, and where they were sent out a call for shipbuilders and shipyard workers,
Right.
And so it was an opportunity that people came from all parts of the United States, mainly from the South, and it's called really the Great Migration
Right.
to the West Coast. So the whole Marin City, San Francisco, Richmond, Oakland, Alameda, up to the
All those
Vallejo.
port cities.
All of the port cities.
Right.
And they came to do their job for the United States. And that was in 1942.
Mm-hmm.
I came when I was 3 years old, so it was 1946 when my family moved here, my immediate family. But I had a great aunt. My grandmother's two sisters actually were here in Marin City first.
Mm-hmm.
Doing
Did they work in the shipyards too, building?
No, they were doing domestic work.
Uh-huh.
And they told my grandmother about Marin City.
Yeah.
And from that, my parents were living with my grandmother in San Francisco, who migrated from Topeka, Kansas. To that, there was an opportunity for some housing. And my grandmother, because my parents had three of us and we were living with our grandmother, and she came and found.
Your grandmother said, "Okay, everybody,
and that was
you can find your own home
it.
now."
She went, paid whatever,
Nice,
and then went home and told my dad that you have a new home, and you're going to either root, hog, or die. That's one of their sayings, and that's how we got to Marin City. And my mother, bless her, she never did leave Marin City after she moved there. And everybody else left and came back,
Yeah, which is another interesting topic I'll get to a little later.
Okay.
The draw that brings you back too. But
yes.
What kind of housing did they move into? Because I'd heard there were barracks that had been built for the workers, and then just wonder what it was like then.
You could call it barracks. We just called it, just
small home, right?
It was duplexes because, up on the hill.
Right.
And we had, because you had two houses connected, one on one and one on the other. And we lived in a 3-bedroom up on top of the hill, the hill that's closer going over the hill to Tam Valley. So that's
beautiful
where
up there.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I bet that was such a shift from San Francisco, wasn't it?
Well, I was little. I was only 3.
Oh, okay.
So, I didn't know any better.
But you had
really.
nature around you then?
That was our playground, just going outside. And and running and playing and looking and hiking, and discovered actually the Fernwood cemetery, but not knowing what it was. We just called it the graveyard. And so we did, we would decorate the different graves. That was our way of having fun. We didn't, and we didn't have a playground at that point in time. So we just did what we could do.
So life and death became really normal at a very young age for you. That's really funny.
Yeah.
So let's go on and tell more about the story of what happened then as the war ended and, people began leaving Marin City to buy property. Then what took place? Well,
I know all I knew then is that many people were moving. And we were still just up on the hill. We were one of the families who were one of the last families that moved off the hill and down into the flats, what we call the flats. Reason being that when you living up on the hill, we were sort of in Marin City, but isolated.
Right.
So it was like a community that lived up on the hill. And most of the community that lived upon the hill, it was like maybe almost 50-50, that either moved down, stayed, or moved out of Marin City. So we lived up on the hill, and then we were told that promise that they were going to develop it and we would be able to move back. And that's the old 1-2. But we didn't know it at that point in time. At that point.
So, Mike, I have another question, which is because I remember reading that there was the great migration from the South, but there were people from all over the country of all races, basically, because the war brings people together, right? So you had white people, black people.
Right.
Side by side,
next door, and living
connected together in those those duplexes.
Yes,
too.
In fact, when we moved up, there were this family called the Boys. They were a white family. They lived there. Our next door neighbors, and you had Portuguese people, Filipino people, and. It was just a mixture, and
with a common goal. Think about that. With a common goal, I've always thought about that regarding the shipyards. Is that everyone had a common goal?
They did as adults, but I was just 3 years old.
But at the same, but they were all living together. But you were able to play with kids who weren't Black Americans. They were. And it was just, So, all right. So then people start moving down to the flats, and you moved down there with the promise that it was going to be developed and you'd be able to come back.
That's right.
Right.
And I was happy when we moved to the flats because by then I was a teenager.
Oh, and there were more things to do.
Oh, yes.
I know what that is.
And I was able to move and be close to my friends.
Yeah.
That by that time we were all going to Tamalpais High School. And so, yes,
What year was that?
It was in,
I'm trying to picture a poodle skirt, maybe?
It was
there a poodle skirt involved?
1958.
Yeah.
In 59. I graduated in 60.
Okay.
So it was during that period of time that we, it was fun for me.
Fun, yeah.
Although we had different obstacles. Living in the flats, there was what we call the middle road. And every year when it winter, you had to literally wading through the water to get to the end of the road.
Is that where, Damian, let me ask you, is that where that water catchment still is that's down by the freeway where it turns into a pond? Is that similar?
No, but that was not it, though.
Okay.
It was just...
Because I know we talked about that, flooding and water.
Still lots of flooding, but not exactly.
Right. That was just flooding.
Yeah.
And then you had to get to the top of that road.
Oh.
And in so doing, then you had to wear really high rain boots.
Yeah,
to go
to be able
that.
to get
that was the way of life.
Yeah, to and from school. Yeah, to get out, to catch a bus, right? Yeah.
Catch the Greyhound bus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So let's keep talking then about how that evolved, because I know that other Black families I've spoken with said, and at the end of the war, we wanted to purchase homes in Marin County. And because of what they call redlining,
right,
which is restrictive housing at the time, racial restrictions, they weren't allowed to.
Right. And that didn't really affect my world.
Okay.
My parents were in Marin City.
They were happy where they were.
They were happy being in Marin City. So that was home.
Yeah.
And I did see during that period of time how more people moved out, but not really people moving in, all nationalities at that point in time.
Were Black people still moving in? Or were
some probably were.
Yeah.
But those that had made up their mind that they were going to just not leave Marin City, well, they were just sort of hunkered in.
Yeah.
They weren't going to move.
Yeah.
And my parents were not really involved in the political atmosphere at that point in time. So I really, again, I was just having fun.
You were just having a teenage life, right? And
more than a teenage life. I was a teenage mother.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yes, at 14.
Wow.
I was pregnant, and 15, I was a mother. Yes.
That's pretty
having
young.
So much fun.
Oh, boy. Well,
yes.
That's a way of life, too. That's just how, how life is.
My life, and
And you finished school anyway.
On time.
See, this is the thing I sometimes feel is that there's this judgment superimposed over young mothers, and they don't deserve it if they feel like they want to continue with their lives. They want to keep their baby.
And that was the question that my parents, that they asked me. The little sidebar to that story real quick is that I had just came home that night from a party, and I was telling my parents about one of my friends that, she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And so my daddy said, while you're talking, people are talking about you. And I said, oh, what? He said, they said, you're pregnant. Are you? And all I could do is just break down and just start crying.
Yeah.
And so then they asked me, did I want to keep my baby? And so I said, yes. So my mother said, if you're going to keep your baby, you're going to be the mother to your baby. And she meant that.
She already had enough mothering.
There's 4 of us. And so I did. And but I was able, my dad at that point in time was working nights. So he was willing to babysit till noon.
Well, you could go to school.
So I went to TAM and came, I had enough credits to only go half a day, come back, and we lived on that sort of the backside going down into Tennessee Valley. So, you could either walk if you wanted to walk or just run off down the hill and beat the Greyhound bus before it came around there. So that was my life. And I was able to graduate on time, the class of 1960.
I just love the story of how non-judgmental and kind they were to you at that time. Like I said, it's like there's so much, just judgment and anger, and you've got to get on with your life. No, you can't have a child. And you've had this remarkable life.
No, if that was my choice, I had to live by it.
Yeah.
And I did. Back in those days, you didn't have the disposable diapers.
Yeah.
You had cloth diapers, so I had to do the laundry, make the old-fashioned formula, the whole 9 yards. So
and there was your dad helping out, though, which is really sweet.
While I was going to school.
Yeah.
Right. But after that, I still had all those responsibilities that I had to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, that's an incredible story, too. I love that. And so meanwhile, things are happening around you in Marin City, and
Yes.
They had started the construction on Golden Gate Village by then.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes. And my family didn't move initially. We were in the flats because not everyone, it was only 300 households.
Yeah, once it was completed.
But once it was completed, we still weren't not able to move because there were more than 300 families, I should say, that were left.
Okay.
So we were still in the flats.
But a lot of people willingly and happily moved up there.
Oh, yes. Oh, I had good friends.
It's a beautiful, see, this is the thing. It's a beautiful complex. And as another sidebar from me, my husband is a property inspector, and he did the inspection of Golden Gate Village because there was a threat to tear it down. It's old. We don't need it. And he came home and he said, I don't know if I've ever seen a better built building.
Right.
He said it's all concrete and it's down into the bedrock and it's beautiful. And I have a note here. It was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright's protege, Aaron Green.
That's right.
And he said of that, it's going to be one of the finest communities in the world.
And it is.
He didn't say finest public housing.
No,
he said finest communities in the world.
And it is.
And my husband, has told me how clever it is that every driveway goes up to the parking lot for that level.
That's in the high rises.
Yeah, he says he hardly, he's seen thousands. What does he tell me? Like 10,000 buildings in Marin County, and it's just one of his favorite places because it's so beautifully designed.
Yes,
Yes. So
and I had the opportunity to show him.
Yeah, you were his tour guide. No, he was sorry he didn't get to see you today. He said he loved working with you there when he was doing his inspections.
And a little other sidebar, I was the one that did the application, paid for the application for Golden Gate Village to be placed upon the National Historic Register.
Who filled that out?
The architect was Daniel Rourke, but I was the one that
to get it
hired him to do the job.
Well, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, so let's go back to when people began moving in. And it was in really good shape then. It was a beautiful, shiny building with heating that worked. And, everything worked at that point. And then what happened to the property? And then your personal story also when you moved in.
Well, I didn't initially move in because we were in the flats.
Right.
I got married.
Okay,
so then I moved out. My mother, my husband helped my mother move from the flats into Golden Gate Village about 2 years after I got married in 1963 when President Kennedy was assassinated. That was my day. I got married.
You got married on the day of his assassination?
Yes.
It just shows, doesn't it, the good and everything's existing at once, isn't it?
Yes.
The beauty of your wedding and then this tragedy.
Yes.
That must have been hard for you to be able to celebrate your marriage when that happened, too.
Well, I was looking forward to being married.
Yeah, well, we'll be okay, but I've got my life.
Yes.
How old were you then?
I was 20 when I got married.
Yeah.
And a little sidebar, at 19, I thought I was going to be an old maid.
Because you already had one child.
And all of my friends were married. Because back in those days...
You get married young.
Very young.
Spinster, that's the word they used to use. You don't want to end up a spinster.
And at 20, but it didn't happen.
Oh, nice. Well, so you got married.
Yes.
And she moved to Golden Gate Village and you stayed in the home?
No. My husband and I, we moved to San Francisco.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, that was my first time leaving.
Okay.
But it was my 2 brothers and my baby sister. They moved in, with my mom.
They moved up to Golden Gate Village.
Yes. And so there had been a family prior to them moving in. So my mom was there until we moved back. And that was in 1967. When
you and your husband moved back then. Okay. I'm going to be showing pictures of what a beautiful place this is too. When we talk about up, I mean, it's built into a hillside. People would
so
give
beautiful.
anything to have, well, as you know, because the housing authority wanted to take it because they could develop it and sell $1 million homes.
And that's something that they're still wanting to do in the background.
Well, let's keep going then with that story. So, I know that when Tony did his inspections, he said there was a lot of deterioration and a lot of people didn't have heat and there were a lot of things that hadn't been fixed. And
so just imagine from the time Tony did his initial inspections.
Which is about 5 years ago, I think, 4 years ago.
So 5 years later, nothing has
changed. Okay.
It's only deteriorated.
So I don't want to I keep wanting to go historically. I like timelines. but when people moved into Golden Gate Village, did any of them have any resentment that they weren't able to purchase property outside of Marin City? Any of the Black families at that time?
From my knowledge, those that moved at Golden Gate Village that was their home,
and they were thrilled to be there,
and they were happy, very happy to be there.
Yeah,
I had some friends who were able to make that first.
Yeah, so it was a community already. Yeah.
We were just moving from one area to the next area.
So let's talk about how Marin Housing Authority has controlled it all along, right? And they are a subsidiary of HUD, Housing and Urban Development.
Yes.
And they've allowed it to fall apart. Can we talk about how racism plays a part in this and how?
Well, all the way, because I did have friends who had moved out and where the, other parts of the county.
Yes.
And where they experienced crosses being burnt on their front yard.
These were Black families who moved out.
Yes, in Novato, as well as Tam Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I had friends that experienced that.
With crosses being burned?
Oh, yes.
And then did they move back to Marin City as a result?
No, they stuck it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, this is...
but I have to say that during this period of time, that's when Marin City each year was becoming more and more a Black community.
Okay.
Until, from 60 on, it was...
More of a Black community.
Black community.
Do you think that's because in contrast to what your friends in Nevada and places like that were experiencing, Marin City seemed safe to Black families?
That wanted to remain in Marin County.
Right.
Many Black people moved to San Francisco, the Bay Area.
Oakland, Richmond.
Right. Mm-hmm. Richmond, Vallejo.
Mm-hmm. Where there were already Black communities.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But those of us that were there, still left. It became community and home. And in the meantime, too, you had the housing that was up on the hill where we lived, the Wartime housing. They had, and part of it, on the side that I lived, they had burned them down, tore them down, as well as going all the way around. But that was one of the things they tore down, like where the Golden Gate Village is, but they decided, because they were supposed to redevelop the whole entire valley.
Okay.
But then they got public housing, which is Golden Gate Village, and then the whole redevelopment part was for the so many 100 and some pole houses.
Right, the ones that are on the cliffs that have pole houses that are supported and kind of cantilevered out from the hill.
My daddy, he worked in the shipyard, and then after that, he still did that type of work, but as well as becoming a carpenter. And that was
there was a lot to do
skill.
Then. Yeah.
And he said that the poles were the most sturdiest things of the whole buildings.
Well, that makes me feel better, because sometimes I look at those houses perched out there and I think, that looks a little scary.
He said because it was those poles, the foundation,
Yeah.
and the houses themselves, they were like prefab.
Oh,
So
and they
that's
just sort
why
of
they were able to build them,
plopped them up onto those poles.
faster.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
so it's for people who don't know Marin County, it's almost exclusively a white community. The whole county is.
The whole county,
and this is a black community that exists within the white county.
That's right.
Right.
We used to call it, the Golden Ghetto, and that it was a well-kept secret, Marin City, because people didn't know that it was, just really there, and it was like that. And I remember Mr. Frank Phillips, who was one of the elders, that was not a sellout,
Mm-hmm.
but he had said that once Golden Gate Village, that bond passed to build it. Then after it was built, they wanted to try to attempt to pass another one, but it didn't go through.
To build more housing like that?
To build more public housing in Marin County.
Oh,
and we know the reason, right?
They want to keep people all in one place.
Black people in one place.
All in one place.
That's right.
And they just pass them on the freeway and they don't have to have any interactions.
That's right. That's right.
If you put them in another part of the county that's already white dominant.
Right.
You have to see them at the grocery store.
Yes.
You have to see them at the post office.
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes, but that's how. Yeah. But that's how it. That's how it was.
Yep.
But on the good side, we had all black businesses. I mean, because the white business people they moved out.
They call it white flight, right?
Right. And then black people were there to take over those businesses.
Restaurants and
the restaurant, and candy store, what we called, we called it the cafeteria, but restaurant, as well as the department store by Hayden's. We had our own post office. We had Mr. Williams had his business as cleaning man. Bryce Brothers Market combined with Waldo Market. It was ran by black men that took it over.
This sounds like a really thriving
gas station. Gas station.
We had our gas station that came a little later. We did have a health building where Miss Taylor
medical health.
Medical health. So it was a self-sustaining community, and very safe. But growing up there, I took it for the beauty. I took for granted because that was all I knew.
Right.
And so I didn't really appreciate where I lived until I left. The last time I left and was gone, that was in 72 and 73, and I came back in 1976. So when I came back in 76 to Golden Gate Village, I just thought I was the one step from heaven.
Back in heaven.
Yes.
Yeah, for people who don't know, I mean, that's the irony of it. It's the most beautiful property in Marin County. And
well, and I mean, completely. And when I came back, I lived in Berkeley for 3.5 years. So when I wanted to take my children to go walk, we couldn't do it in Berkeley. You'd have to go to the Berkeley Hills. But then in Marin City, you're right out there. The door. And so one weekend I had the opportunity, I went to spend the weekend with my mother because she never left. Right. Everyone else was gone.
Yeah.
And so I spent the weekend, and everybody I saw, they said, Royce, you need to come back home. Oh. And I heard that all that weekend. Yeah. And so I said, well, if it's God's will for me to come back, the way will be made. And so that Monday, I went up to the housing authority and saw, her name was Fanny Coleman. And so, I knew we grew up together up on the hill. And so she said, well, Royce, do you want to come back? And so I said, yeah, I'm thinking about it. So then she said, well, how about a 4-bedroom? I said, what?
You thought you hadn't heard one.
And the building, the unit had been empty for about 4 months. Nobody wanted it.
Because it was so big.
No.
And no?
They didn't want to live next door to my neighbor.
Oh.
And so I said, I don't care. It could be a gorilla. A 4-bedroom, I'll take it because I'm in Berkeley with 5 children living in a 2-bedroom.
You need a big 4-bedroom. I can't not ask, what's with the neighbor? What was going on?
Oh, well, she was my neighbor for over 40 years.
And you did fine with her.
You know, yeah, I mean, it wasn't my neighbor. It was her children and grandchildren.
Just a lot of chaos.
Yes,
right?
but I didn't.
You already had how many children?
5.
So you were used to that too.
And so, yeah, it was just beautiful when we were able to, to move in May the 3rd.
So, what I'm getting here is that the draw back is this beautiful community that's it's not as self-sustaining as it used to be because it's not
right.
It's not 90 or 95%
Black
American.
Yes, it was.
It was, but anymore, it's not anymore.
It's not today.
Yeah.
But when I came back, it was still a Black community.
Okay.
But in coming back to really see the beauty of the community.
Yeah.
That I, was
That's
taken for granted.
Yeah.
And I was doing homeschooling. So we have a trailhead right by 69 that goes up to the top.
Yeah.
And
that trail's so nice.
Oh, yes.
I love that trail.
Right. But back then, no one was going up there.
Oh.
So it's just myself and my children, and they played up there, and we did our studies, just up there, and just so peaceful and beautiful. And we would explore the different places up there, and then their friends, even as little children in our neighborhood, I would take the group of kids up into the hills, and so that they could just see and know the beauty of where they live,
of the natural world around them.
Yes. And
can I ask a question? I want to interject a question here. Mm-hmm. Were you homeschooling because you felt that the schools weren't doing such a good job for kids, or the schools in Marin City?
When I left Marin, when I was gone for 3.5 years in Berkeley, I had become very involved in the Sausalito School District.
Uh-huh.
Back in when Sid Walton, when they were doing the integration,
right?
And I was, as a parent, I went visiting the school one day, and I went to my oldest daughter's class,
uh-huh.
and it was completely off the chain. Kids were on top of the desk, and it was total chaos.
Wow.
And so
Blackboard jungle style.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Literally.
Yeah.
And so then I said, wow, what is this, where I'm sending her? And then I went to a school board meeting, and I was the only Black person at the school board meeting. And I'm listening to these white parents as they're talking about, what they want to see happen, and how they were talking, sort of condescending about making things better for the children. And in my heart, I'm thinking, how can they can't speak for me.
Was it an integrated
It was
class?
Integrated.
Yes.
But Black parents were not really involved. And so, so what I did after I went to that meeting, and I came back and started talking to parents,
mm-hmm.
I said, you need to come and see what's going on for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I said, because they're making decisions for our children, and nobody's there. And so I just started talking to everybody and encouraged them to come to the school board meeting. And they started coming.
Uh-huh.
And to make a long story short, we took that school down. But in so doing, I realized that it is a racist institution.
Mm-hmm.
There was no way to bring that racist institution down. But what you do is that energy in fighting something like a stone wall, turn it around and do for self. And so that's how I got involved while I was still in Marin City before I moved out.
In homeschooling?
No, we started our own freedom school.
Oh, you did?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes. And it was at
Black families came to that.
Black families came, and we ran the school with all total volunteers. But the volunteerism was like clockwork, and everyone was committed. And we were at Village Baptist Church, and we stayed there a year. But in the meantime, in Marin City, the school, one of the school where initially all the kindergartners in the school district went, but then they pulled them out, sent them down to Sausalito. Well, what happened is that school and that was the newest school in the district, and it lay empty. And we tried to rent it, and they wouldn't, rent it to us or anything.
So I just want to make sure I understand. So the parents pulled the white kids out and put them. I guess I'm confused about
the way that they did integration.
Yes,
they built a new school in Marin City.
Right.
That school had all of the kindergartners in the entire district.
Okay.
Then first, second, third, you went to Central School, which is now City Hall in Sausalito.
Mm-hmm.
Then fifth, sixth to the eighth, you went to Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. Or it was called Richardson Bay back in that day. Mm-hmm. And so that's how it was. So then they had shut it down for all the kindergartners. Then all the kindergartners, because parents probably pulling their children out, white parents, in Sausalito. So they went to Central School. That was the school initially. And so that left the school in Marin City empty for a whole school year. So then what happened is they wouldn't give it to us. And so you have to...
They wouldn't give it to the Freedom School?
No. And so what we did as parents in Marin City, we took the school. Meaning we went into the school, we cleaned it up, set up the rooms, and start having classes. Because the first year was in Village Baptist Church, but we could only do it a year. So we took that school. And in fact, there's a picture in Marin Scope back in the yesteryear that shows a picture of one of my daughters in a silhouette, because they cut off the electricity. And so we followed the sun.
They cut the electricity out because you were
in that school
essentially squatting in that school.
Yes.
Were you there?
Yeah, I don't know. He knows all of this story.
Were you there, Damian?
No, he was a little boy. Yeah.
If I was born, what year was this?
Yeah.
I don't think I was maybe even born yet.
I don't know.
You were born.
I don't know how old you are, Damian, so...
Well, I won't say on
we won't say it on the... We won't discuss our ages here.
But we took the school. It was back in the days of the Black Panther Party.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
I love this, yeah. So I grew up in Oakland.
Okay.
And I went to work for the Black Panthers when I was 12.
All
so I have my own history.
Yes.
I went to a middle school. I was so sick of so much of the white kids I was dealing with. And one of my Black friends came up to me and he goes, you want to sell these newsletters because we'll raise money for the children's breakfast program. And I was like, that sounds so great. So I think I've told you this whole story before. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So that's I know that time in history as well.
Yes. So it was that time. Yeah. And so we were there until that winter set in. It was
hard to follow the sun, and there wasn't any heat
and cold, and it was raining, and so we took flight to my house.
How many kids did you have in this?
I had 4 at that time. The oldest one was in high school.
But how many kids for the school that they?
Oh, we had about 15,
and they would come to your house for the.
They came,
Yeah.
but in the meantime, my marriage had gone to hell. So
It's hard to be married to an activist, you know?
and so, it happened. I was too into what I was doing.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind.
Yeah.
And from there I went to Berkeley.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I'm going to move over to Damian now for a little bit here. So Damian, I met you because of the school. Well, I met you through my daughter, who's such an activist. But because of the desegregation order that was issued to Sausalito School District. And I don't know if you were really closely involved in that, but we had conversations or you were in meetings. And so I want to bring this up because you know that part of the history as well. That, and I don't remember what year it was, do you? When Javier Becerra, the Attorney General of California?
Yes, in year 2000, there was a charter school that came about in the school district, which is it's no longer, but it was called Willow Creek Academy.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2012, they built a campus in Marin City for district kids, but knowingly it would become segregated because all Black students in Marin City went to this campus in Marin City.
Mm-hmm.
Some saw it as a benefit, some saw it as a potential issue. So with the charter school taking over the campus in Sausalito and the Black kids going to the newly built building in Marin City in 2012, that was the beginning of the end, so to speak, in 2012. I started going to meetings in 2013. Willow Creek Academy, they took some few Black kids, they kind of...
Willow Creek did?
Yeah, the charter school, they kind of, picked what kids they wanted based on
was it a public school too? Did you have to pay?
This was still the Sausalito Marin City School District.
Okay. So you didn't have to pay for it.
The charter school, there was no fee for it. It was a dependent charter school. You have an independent,
right?
Which from my understanding, the charter schools fully fund itself. Right. But a dependent charter school depends on some district funds,
right?
And you also have to
you have to meet those requirements,
right? Exactly. So I started going to meetings. There was a big uproar in the community. In 2014, the district hired a guy, the last name of Van Zant. That was his last name. I think it was Steve. And he was known as a charter king. So the district hired the guy with this name around, this aura around him called the Charter King. But he was the superintendent for both schools.
Okay.
So he came up with an agenda. Obviously, he's a charter king. So they created this funky MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, and that MOU funneled through a very rigorous, very hard to read an agreement, contract, MOU, that it funneled monies up to $1 million illegally from the district to the charter school,
to
Willow Creek Academy. Yes. And at that point, the district school, which is located in Marin City, it had no PE. They had no arts. I think part of 1 year, there was no math teacher. Started combining classes, getting rid of teachers. And it doesn't take a genius to figure out, though, that $1 million that was siphoned to the charter school was the reason why they got rid of classes. That had no PE.
For the other school.
No PE for a while. So that's when there was a huge uproar in the community. Lots of hostile meetings, race-based meetings, finger pointing.
What's a race-based meeting like?
Race-based meeting.
I know instinctively, but
I would say race-based meetings are, you have whites in a school board meeting and you have Blacks in a school board meeting, and Black families are saying, again, we're at the ugly end of an institution that's treating us bad. Again, here we are again asking, why aren't you doing right by our kids? Why are our kids at the ugly end of cutbacks?
Mm-hmm.
What is going on?
Mm-hmm.
And we had white families in the same meeting saying, Willow Creek is great. Willow Creek is the answer. Willow Creek is doing right by all families. We love Willow Creek. Don't get rid of Willow Creek. And the black families that were going to the district school had no math for a while, had no arts at all, had no PE for a while, and other services were cut too. And so
who blew the whistle that got this all the way to the California Attorney General? Do you know?
It was a community led effort.
Mm-hmm.
There was one person in particular that I think wrote the complaint. And if I'm not mistaken, it's Marilyn Mackle,
mm-hmm.
who's an ex-judge herself
mm-hmm.
in the LA County area.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm pretty sure she wrote the complaint, but it was a community-led effort, going to meetings, advocating, discussing, going online, calling local media. And it was definitely, we thank Maryland, but it was a community-led effort to send this complaint to the state of California.
Well, I remember when I first heard about it, and I was just shocked that after all those, 50 years or something, with no other desegregation orders in the United States of America from the 1960s to now, that it would be here in Marin County. I mean, my husband and I were in a couple meetings, online, and we just said it's embarrassing, because by that we were living in Sausalito at that point. We're really embarrassed that we live here. We're embarrassed that this is what you've done, that you've allowed this to drift this way and pretended it was okay. Mm-hmm. And of course we got a lot of pushback. But seriously, it was not. Mm-hmm. It's like, I was so happy that Javier Becerra, the Attorney General, was outraged. I read what the desegregation order looked like.
Yeah, the complaint went in when summer of, I think spring of 2016, the complaint went to the state, and in August of 2019, Mr. Becerra came to campus in Marin City. I was there. They didn't tell anyone ahead of time because they didn't want a million people showing up, but we got, I think it was like maybe a 24-hour notice that he's coming, and I made sure to be there. I recorded it, but it was historic. Obviously, it was historic, but for lots of negative, terrible, racist reasons. But it was. We hoped it was a start of a new beginning.
Yeah,
and it was a 3-year period of waiting for that order to come about.
Yeah. Moving into the present time, we'll get back to Golden Gate Village too. But in terms of the school district, how is it now with Marin City? And I know that kids are moving back and forth into both of the schools, right? And what's the outcome at this point?
I think at its peak, when Willow Creek was there and running, and there's a few people in Sausalito think it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. At that point, it was 430 students, I think,
at Willow Creek.
Yes, mm-hmm. And now Willow Creek has been dissolved, and now on that campus they're building a brand new school, brand new buildings in Sausalito. Mm-hmm. But in Marin, but as we speak now, it's been some white flight, and the enrollment went from 430 to about, I would say, 250.
That's a pretty big difference.
Yes.
And that was from white flight. That wasn't from students transferring into the Marin City school. What are the two schools called now? There's two schools, right?
But no, it's still just the one.
Oh, it's just one school. It's but it's no longer, Willow Creek is just out completely.
That's gone. Out completely.
Out completely.
That was a charter school.
There's one school now in Sausalito or in Marin City.
Well, there's the campus that was built in 2012 in Marin City.
Okay.
That is now utilized as mainly office spaces.
Okay.
All the kids are now in Sausalito in trailers as they're building the new building, which should be open next year at this time.
Okay.
Going into next school year.
Okay, that sounds and how? What's what's the emotional content in these meetings now when parents get together? Do you know? Do either of you go to these meetings still?
I go pretty often, and
Yeah.
it's still some hostility.
Mm-hmm.
There's still lots of questions that need to be
Hostility
answered.
from
The parents feel like
the white parents?
no, there's
Both
some
in fact.
there's a number of issues, but
Okay,
there's
back and
still
forth.
just a matter of kids. How can I say it? Performance. The standards are still not reflecting where we should be as far as enhancing
Test scores and
test
all of
scores,
that.
even besides test scores, just being confident and just being students,
Yeah.
flourishing students. So we're still not where we should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so the kids. So I went to integrated schools in Oakland because it was a natural situation. You know how Oakland is with very multicultural. It didn't feel strange at all. We were just all there. We lived there. We went to the schools there, and we got along for the most part. I mean, I know my R&B history better than most white people.
Yeah.
But my real question is, so the kids go to school together. How do you see them now getting along with each other socially? Has it helped them to be close together in a classroom situation, in a school setting? Do you feel like that's dissolved some of the maybe barriers that they have in different families? What would you say?
I just want to say, in listening to Damian, and in retrospect, and what I said initially in terms of the Sausalito School District being a racist institution, and that what him speaking, it just goes to show just what it is.
Yes.
And so I'm saying
entrenched.
that to say
Yeah.
so, but there's years difference in the in between time. In the in between time, was it 90, a new organization popped up in Marin City called Women Helping All People.
That's your organization. It just didn't
Yes.
pop up automatically. You started it.
Well, actually, it did from our founding president, Miss Maddie Boatman.
Oh, okay.
And being who we are, we came as a women's support group, but we had, and that was during the same time that the Marine Community Foundation had cut back the funding for the various Marin City organizations. So when Women Helping All People started, we said, oh, we'll do it, but we'll do it for free. We'll volunteer and do it. And so there had been an after-school program, but then they stopped because they weren't getting the money that they were used to. So we said, we'll do it. And so we did. And that's while I was sort of moving back in within the Sausalito School District. Damian said, was it 2000 when they had a charter school?
Yeah.
Well, it was in the fall of 2000 that Women Helping All People, we started Women Helping All People Scholastic Academy.
Okay.
And again, as I said previously, that energy in terms of trying to fight a brick wall, we took that same energy to do it for ourselves.
And that's what we talk about now, too, because of inflation and because of whatever political things are going on. We talk about mutual aid a lot now.
Oh, well, I don't know what the terms are.
You're way ahead of us. We have a term for it now, but
right.
you just did it. You didn't call it anything.
We did it up until this past school year. We did it for 25 years.
35?
20.
Oh, 25.
We started
years.
Our women in 2000 and 35 years. So, but our school started in 2000, and so we went, just making scholars.
Yes,
because with our after school program, we were seeing children coming to our after school program, and we had a good, solid after-school program that we work close with the school. But by the time the children get to us at 3:00, they're tired.
Yes.
And they've the school, they gave them these little packs and, for homework for the week,
yeah.
but homework's supposed to be the follow-up for your classwork. And so I was just thinking, for the energy that it takes to deal with it after school, you could teach, because you had to teach the skills to the children. If we got them fresh first thing in the morning, just think how more advanced that they would be.
Yeah.
And so that's why we started. We started the same year as the the Marin City Charter School. But we went on up until, like I said, this was the first school year, 24, 25, that we did not have a class, through so many different reasons. But we, instead of talking about and trying to change that system, which still hasn't been changed.
It hasn't. No, that's just
if you
it.
able to do for self.
Yeah.
And we had scholars.
That's what I was going to ask. How did they do?
Scholars.
Yeah.
Scholars. I mean,
off to college, right?
All off to college. Even if they didn't go to college, well, most of them they did go. But when they went back, some went back, because we took anybody, but we gave them as if they were going to be leave. We didn't know when they would leave, but our students outperformed,
excelled.
And we have history. People know about Women Helping All People Scholastic Academy, that we produce scholars. And that was what we wanted to show. We're still waiting for opportunity, because the Housing Authority, they took we were working at that point in time with housing administration that supported us. But then they took that support when people moved, retired, etc. Then they evicted us out of some of the space that we had. So we had to downsize.
The Housing Authority did.
Yes.
I want to make certain that we keep bringing everything into present time where we are today, because there's this big, rich history for the community. There's what you mentioned earlier, and it was kind of as an aside that you mentioned that the Community Foundation, or the Marin Foundation, stopped funding, so much of what was going on in Marin City. So that's where you develop this, do it yourself, take care of yourself, take care of your own, take care of the needs, and you created scholars that excelled. So, and it's so good for people to know that they don't need to be dependent on the bureaucratic systems around them. But Damian, this brings me to what you and I had been talking about, which is what was the name of the Black student support and that program in the schools that now has been challenged and canceled, basically?
Yeah, it's called the Hub. The Hub was brought in a year ago. It was. I don't think it was, Paul Austin, who's born and raised in Marin City.
Yes.
And his wife, Tanisha Tate Austin. They've been working in the community for many years. Paul has, off and on his whole adult life. They, at TAM and the TAM district, but primarily at TAM, we've had a lot of racist issues.
So this is Tamalpais, because this is going to be seen everywhere for people who aren't in Marin County. So it's Tamalpais Valley.
No, it's Tamalpais High School in Mill Valley, California.
Okay.
And there's a district. It's also called the TAM Union High School District. TAM.
District, okay.
And there's
is been racial issues
5
there.
schools, but Tamalpais High School in Mill Valley has had a lot of racist issues, a lot of racial terror in the last 4, 5, 6, 7 years, and it's been an uptick recently. So the community in Marin City has been saying, "Hey, district, what are you going to do? How are you going to solve these issues? What are you going to do? How are you going to work on these issues?" So the district brought in Paul Austin and Tanisha Tate last year, and they created called the Hub, and it's space on campus at Tamalpais High School in Mill Valley for Black students who are up against all this racial terror to come in and discuss, talk with, Black people who are Black, um, Paul and Tanisha and others who are working that hub to support the students. And
Right.
it's been a huge success.
Right.
Attendance has gotten better, grades has gotten better. Also with the mindset and the confidence of kids have gotten better. So it's been a huge success.
They have someone to talk to, somebody who helps them feel safe on campus that they might not all, somebody who has their back.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, keep going because
So
the story goes on.
as of late, as in very, very recent,
Last week.
the last week, the district voted to cancel the hub, and many people, including myself, are very upset. We're not understanding why it's being cut. They're blaming it on. They're saying that is some budget cuts, and this program they can be better supported in the district on people who by staff members on campus. But that's not true, because if that was the case, they never would have hired and brought in Paul and Tanisha in the first place.
They wouldn't have needed
True.
them. No, I
Right.
actually had an email conversation with one of the school board members who voted against this and voted it down. And I said, you're looking at protocol, you're looking at doing everything by the numbers and the budget. I said, you could offer maybe some less money, but keep these two people who know these students and who have been advocates and activists for years. You can't get the school district people to fill those gaps. That's not who they are. It just, and I keep getting, I get this kind of, the answers that come back to me is this bureaucratic speak of, best practices and, phrases like that they use. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
don't look at what maybe they didn't follow the rules exactly as you wanted. I said, write down a simple set of instructions. I'm sure they'll follow those. I said, make it easy for them to understand that this is what you expect from them. But, they just argue with me. So,
Yeah, I'm not sure what rule they're reflecting.
it's just, that's it. She couldn't be very specific
Of course,
about it either.
it's hogwash. But there's many levels of this. One is all due respect to the staff members and people who work on campus, but they don't have the expertise to deal with these issues. That's one. And second, as far as the financing goes, there's a Tam High Foundation who supports the district, and they have a net worth of right now of like $1.5 million. And they support Bridge the Gap. They support other organizations, and they offer $50,000 to this program for $250,000. So also in Mill Valley last year, well, actually, a few months ago, the Mill Valley School District was up against it regarding this early education. And I would say in a breeze, they raised $500,000 in a matter of a few weeks with the help of Kiddo, right? Kiddo is an organization that funds Mill Valley middle school programs and middle school. And so there's a Tam High Foundation. Southern Marin is a very wealthy community. And if the Tam Union School District really wanted to support this, it would be no problem at all.
Exactly.
But so they don't want it. And my humble opinion is because of the administration and Trump's energy regarding DEI and all that mess. I think that's where this comes into play of wanting to get rid of anything that supports, that says out loud, we support Black people. It's kind of anti-Blackness. As much as I hate to say that, but it's anti-Black.
I agree with you 100%. And I hadn't really looked at it through that lens either, that they just want to stay safe. They don't, that the district wants to be safe. They don't want to call attention to themselves. That brings on the ire, the wrath of, this regime that's in Washington right now. So, okay, well, that brings us up to date on that. And we don't know what we're going to be able to do to ever get it back. But it also brings me back to you, Royce, and we do for ourselves. And there may be another way around it. If you don't get the money from the school district, maybe there's another way. And I'm not saying you have to do it because you've done so much already, but pass it off to the younger generation. And maybe this is
actually so.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward for a miracle to really happen this summer. And in so doing, in 1999, I saw where our school will be. I've been waiting patiently since 1999 for the Burgess Estate in Marin City. It's being occupied now, but God has his way if it's his will. And
So there's a
with-
piece of property you have your eye on.
I've had it since 1999.
That's a very patient person that you are.
Since 1999, and had the opportunity to visit it, and that's it's noted in our community, Marin City. It was so mysterious coming up as a child.
Mhm.
What was behind the picket fence?
Oh, uh-huh.
And so when I had the opportunity to go, just to tour it, and I was on the out on the back where the servant quarters were, and I was on the deck, and a voice came and said, "What you see is yours." And I started looking around, got goosebumps, and have been waiting patiently since then. And last year, school year, I was talking to one of our teachers, and in fact, she taught at TAM this past year so that she could start getting credentialed for high school as well as just grammar school. And so we had talked about the mansion would be like for K through 8, but in the back there's the servant quarters. They call it carriage house, and there's 4 like 1-bedroom apartments, but with some renovation, it could be converted to high school. And with the grammar school, with more patience with behavior issues, but high school, we have to have where students are just focused,
Right.
and they may not have all the skills, but the willingness to learn, and so that they can get that necessary what's needed, so that they can go to college and be able to come back with their skills to help build their community.
Yeah.
So that is the vision. And I'm 82, so I know I'm going to be able to see it, but not like if it was 10, 20, 30,
You
40
gotta get
years
Damian
ago.
to take up the prayers
Well,
then,
maybe.
okay?
Maybe.
No doubt. No doubt.
Maybe. And, but then I have, it's called Women Helping All People. So I have quite a few granddaughters who are college graduates and, doing their due. But however, grandma's going to, start
Grandma's going to ask if they want to come back and teach.
and teach.
Uh-huh.
And I was talking to one last week. And so she said, Grandma, she's getting her master's in accounting. She said, maybe I could do your books. And so I'm listening to her talk. I said, maybe you could run the whole situation, because each one
Yeah.
brings a skill.
Yes.
Of my granddaughters.
Right.
And I guess I'll put this little plug in. My one of them is a scientist, the first Black scientist from Stanford who specialized in stem cell.
Stem cell research?
Yes, and she's the first Black graduate from Stanford in the United States whose researches that. And I told her, when I do come into my wealth, I want to help you, because she's very creative. And right now she works for BioMarin. I said, but all of she's a genius. I said, but if you discover something, they're going to get it.
That's the way it works.
I
yes.
said, but you need to be able to have the freedom to really, just open up and do you. And that's what I'm hoping for, and waiting and trusting for her.
Put that in the prayers too, okay?
Yes.
100%.
To be able to do that. And
Yeah.
so,
yeah. No, that's really exciting.
yeah.
Congratulate her for me. That's really nice to
Yeah,
hear.
it is.
That's
And
wonderful.
Say her name, Royce. Let
her
everyone know
name
who
is,
she is.
okay, her name is Malachiah Hoover Cujo. She did this being, got married with 2 children and got her PhD a year ago.
From Stanford in
From
stem
Stanford.
cell research.
Mm-hmm.
It's really inspiring.
And I went to the graduation, but I didn't look at it in that view.
Yeah.
But it took, we had a birthday party for her little baby girl, and one of her friends from Stanford was there, and she's the one that told me. She said she's the first one in the first Black student from Stanford in the United States.
Maybe
She
you could
said,
send me her picture.
and I'm going to be number 2.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh my gosh. Really
yes.
inspiring. These are the scholars that you have helped
Yes.
to create. I'm sorry I was interrupting. I wanted to say, send me a picture of her and we can edit that in so that we have her.
Okay.
Well, if she's okay with it, but
She's okay.
But I
She's
just
humble.
I want to give her due for
Yeah.
what she's already achieved. So we've talked about where we are with the educational system. Now, I'd like to discuss where we are with Golden Gate Village now, because we have, yes, it's on the historical register, but you're still dealing with the Marin Housing Association and the
Yes.
racism that is still permeating.
Oh, is it ever? It's worse now than it ever has been.
Oh my!
Truly, on the under, they want it so bad. You know, they're
That property?
the property. They're just salivating, but they have to go through a whole, process.
Yeah.
And in going through, we developed prior to a resident plan, and our plan is still a plan. In fact, I'm meeting
You
today.
have a resident plan called the Deep Green Renovation Plan.
That's it.
That includes job training and a path to home ownership.
That's it.
For the residents.
That's it.
Yeah.
And of course, they didn't want that. But in going through this process, I realized that the housing authority, they don't have the money either. They were playing money was the thing, but they don't have it. So they partnered up with Burbank Housing. And we're experiencing as residents right now confusion over the entire complex. What did they do? They got away, they took away all of the assigned parking. And you know how people feel about their
having
spot.
their own spot.
They took it all away.
Oh, wow.
So now you have residents against each other.
This kind of thing, this divide and conquer business.
That's it. And this just happened last week.
You know what? Put your numbers back on the ground. Just you take control of it yourself. Get the spray paint. This goes to this. Nobody should have to fight over something that they've had all this time.
I know. And we'll be taking it tomorrow to the Board of Supervisors.
Good, you should.
Because it's so, pathetic. But with that still going forward, yes. I'm after I leave here, I'm having a meeting with our strategy team. We have a strategy team that came together thanks to Damian in 2000. The people who we have attorneys, we have developers, we have architects, financial people that put together that plan.
It's so
nice. And so we're
yeah.
coming together, convening this morning to want to dust it off, because one of the things that the Housing Authority did not go through was to offer the residents or the resident council the opportunity for the right of first refusal.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to come back this way because they don't have any money either. So we would stand a better chance of being able to raise the money and to let that plan become a reality.
And you have some ideas about how to raise the money, don't you?
Oh, yes.
It's on your website, even.
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm. And see, and also what they want, they're so fixed on wanting to do what they call phase 1, which is taking a portion of the property to renovate it only on the inside. They don't want to deal with the sound wall, which is very necessary
between the freeway and the
correct. correct, as well as the water pipes. And so they'll say, oh, we got the inside, but then what happens on the outside?
Right.
Right. And so they're planning a little shoddy. Let's fix up the inside, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
and so then they don't have all the money. I keep saying that.
Yes.
And so what they're going to do, I could see them doing it well, that they run out of money to do phase 2 and 3. However, it's called affordable housing.
Right.
And affordable housing is what was the term that was used from the day that we left the tall building, our wartime housing.
Yes.
It was also been like affordable housing in Marin County for poor Black people is just like
not affordable.
Market rate.
Yes.
And that's how Marin City ended up being gentrified in the way that it is. And I'd say that the county, they want to gentrify Marin City to where it is 2% Black, which will reflect us as the 2% population in this county. That is the direction.
That's their.
Yes.
You can see that. Have you heard anything like that? Or you're just intuiting that based on what you're watching?
Well, because of if they don't have the money, they're going to have to do something.
They have to figure something else
out. So what else? They can't just say we're going to tear these down because it's on the National Historic Register.
See, this is why I thought maybe when I heard it was on the National Historic Register, I thought, well, maybe it's protected. But apparently it's not. That doesn't protect it.
It protects it, but to an extent. And see, what they've been trying to do is neglect.
Oh.
And it's called demolition by neglect.
Yes. They get it so bad that they
But the structures are so, like you said.
Like what Tony said from his inspection.
Right, from the very beginning.
This place isn't going anywhere.
And this is what housing has said, as well as Burbank, that they can't find anything really wrong with the structures. So, and I'm one of the those that are overseeing and watching to make sure that everything is done in accordance to Section 106 to make sure.
And I happen to know I have friends, white friends, who are in a group called Friends of Golden Gate Village.
Oh, yes.
And so you know that you're getting support from elsewhere in the county now. That there you do have, some alliance from people. So I guess it goes back to, if we don't stand up for each other, we do get pushed around.
That's right. That's right.
And we just have to, like Paul Allen, have the kids' backs. Somehow maybe Paul can make some kind of a move and keep taking care of kids. But he's a busy man, so I don't know how we'll work that out. But this doing for ourselves is something that you've made a whole lifetime out of,
Yes.
And I totally understand. And more people need to do that now because it's getting to a point where we have to.
Right.
And that's why that term mutual aid, that very formal term mutual aid comes up.
Right.
But it's really true. So there is a lawsuit pending right now too that you filed or somebody filed from.
Yes.
What does that state? What's the information in that lawsuit?
Well, it began in 2000 and we're still waiting. So that's 2020.
2020.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of lets you know, and it's not so yet. So that could, without saying it all the way.
What's the content of? Is it okay to talk about it?
Yeah, it is because of conditions, housing conditions, and how people were and still are being made to live in the various types of conditions, from the mold to the rats to those are the two main things.
That's what Tony described to me too. Mm-hmm. Who's the defendant in this suit? Who's being sued?
Is it Marin County Housing Authority?
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to know.
Yes.
And you have attorneys representing you, obviously, for this suit, but it hasn't gone anywhere really, or
Well, to an end.
It's in his
what's going on
it's
with
in
it?
his
Mediation.
mediation settlement stages now.
Oh, that's kind of
There have
good.
been some delays along the way, but it's back on course now. But it probably be several more months before the judge, I guess, is being replaced, the mediation judge. So they're looking for a new mediator now, which they're usually, sometimes they're judges.
Right.
And they're seeking that now, but we don't, we call the law firm and we also call the courts to see what's been filed. So
Right.
we're probably several, sometime this year.
And who goes to mediation? Are you one of the people going to mediation?
Long story short, I was a part of the case initially, but I'm not a part of it now.
Mhm.
But there's each individual family has to go to mediation and negotiate
I see.
which each family thinks their
Ah.
harm is worth. What their conditions are. 'Cause some people have gone to the hospital. Their families have gone to the hospital for different reasons. Skin issues, breathing issues.
That's what
Kids
Tony
have
told me.
breathing
Mold
issues.
and things like
mold.
that. Yeah.
Some families have been moved from apartment to apartment to hotels, back to the same apartment,
Really.
different apartments.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Disruptive
It's
for the
terrible.
children,
So
especially.
each individual
Yeah.
family will, I guess, and so negotiate what's
And then Marin Housing Authority has to pay in order to for whatever that is worth, whatever the harm, the value of that harm is.
yes.
And I want to say regarding Damian, had it not been his persistence, because, I just said, oh, forget it. Another, the old one too. But Damian he stuck to it.
Good.
And
Yeah.
he had a group of us come to the last court hearing. And I'm convinced that the judge was prepared to throw the case out, but there were too many residents that were there. So he gave our lawyer an extension of time. And because the judge was displeased with both lawyers, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, between time, our attorney ended up in Thanksgiving. He got shot, lost his leg, and now he's dealing with,
goodness.
The
Recovery.
Oh my
and
goodness!
trying
I'm
to,
so sorry to hear that.
yeah. And so but I told him, I spoke to him last week, and I said, well, since you, have, it's been 5 years, why, we need, in the meantime, the housing authority, they're still trudging along.
Mm-hmm. Making its plans.
Making their plans. I said, and what we need, since it's taking you so long, is if you would file for us a TRO to stop their process.
Yes.
Until
TRO stands for
temporary restraining order.
Yes, I just
TRO.
I just want to make sure everybody
Okay,
watching knows.
Temporary restraining order, so that the resident council, we are in the process of being reorganized again to be able to be partners with the housing authority in accordance to HUD regulations.
Oh, that's good too.
So that's
good.
I'm asking Damian if he could persuade.
He's persuasive.
Stan.
He'll help.
Yes, but to persuade Stan to the necessity of, we wouldn't have had to go through this if he had have done his due diligence.
Yeah. I don't think there's any
sooner.
grounds for really throwing the case out, though.
Long story short, it was the case was to keep it clean here. The case was lagging along. It seemed to be delayed, and we were not clear as to why. So I actually thought of an idea of calling the federal courthouse, the federal clerk itself, and I would call. And I got information regarding when the next court date would be. So I talked to my fellow beautiful people in Marin City, Royce being one. I said, let's go to the courthouse ourselves and watch and hear what's going on. So I think it was about 10 of us. So about 10 of us showed up to court, and and then here we are. So I have a lot more to say, but I'll keep it with that. But
I just wish both of you, I'm so impressed with this incredible, both of you, lifetimes of service and activism. Neither of you seem angry. You haven't been swearing at all. No, but you know what I mean? It's really easy to become either defensive or depressed or just give up or, and you've got this housing situation, you've got a school situation, and you're both pushing forward with it. And I'd like if maybe in 6 months or whatever we catch up again and see where it's gone from there. Because I know that with the powers that be coming out of Washington, D.C., it sets up a whole chain of events like a domino effect where it starts to affect us locally with people being afraid to take a stance that they normally would or whatever. So I'm just really grateful to both of you for being here today. And
thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Anita Castellina, host of the podcast Navigating, where I talk with people about how they are finding their way through these challenging times. Navigating couldn't happen without you, so please be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel, which you can find by searching Navigating Podcast or with the links we provide in every episode description and social media bio. And if you're subscribed now, you may want to turn on the bell for notifications of the latest episodes and clips. If you like Navigating, let us know. Tell us in the comments and share with your friends. All of this helps Navigating continue to grow so we can bring you more valuable conversations. And as always, thanks so much for watching.